So, Libor Hajek has been brought back to the New York Rangers on a 1-year, $8 million deal. The RFA defenseman is back. I know I'm slightly late on this, but I'm glad it's a nice signing. I mean, it's somebody back because he's the only one besides Splay and another name that I don't remember off the top of my head. That actually it was Vitale. Is the only other two that actually have gotten a contract between the end of the season and now, which worries me a lot. Because as much as I say Drury knows what he's doing, I don't necessarily trust him right now with the free agency guys that are walking, like how word is that we may be walking, we may just let Cop walk away after he cost us a first-round pick in a trade, or Frank Vetrano, the only guy that was really had a motor, even through the second period of the last playoff game, Game 6 against Tampa. And Capo. I mean, he's an RFA, so you're not necessarily letting him walk nearly as, and not like you are Vetrano or Cop, but still, if he ends up leaving, what do you do? You just lost another good player. I mean, I get it. Capo's not the greatest, but he fit on that kid line, and if Kratzov doesn't work, you need a fill-in. Capo. Not only that, going back to Vetrano quick, I just thought of this off the top of my head. Vetrano was first-line wing. Usually between 1 and 2. Cop was 2. And Strom's leaving. There's a bunch of guys leaving. So I kind of doubt Drury. But it's like he did bring a depth piece back that could be trade bait in the future. In Hayek, which, that's fine. He's like a Brzezinski or somebody else that I'd say. I mean, you're a good in-between, and he's good to be behind Nils if we need to. We can maybe grab one defenseman to be alongside. Actually, you don't even need to grab a defenseman. Hayek can be your up-and-down guy, or your 7, depending on what happens to Nemeth. Because you've got your 1 in Ryan and Fox as of right now. As of right now, we'll just go off last season's lines. Ryan and Fox are your 1s. Miller and Trouba are your 2s. Schneider needs a pairing, but he needs a buddy. Because Braun's leaving. I fully expected Braun to leave. What do you call up? Zay Jones. Young guy. Zay Jones was an up and down all year. Someone who I have a little more of an edge, I give the edge to over Nils. Over Lundqvist. Then that's your 7D. Again, depending on what happens to Nemeth, because I've heard he's not been bought out, but I don't know why. He could be trade bait or he could be here. I don't know. I don't necessarily trust him. I think he needs the right D partner next to him. And I think he needs to smarten up a little. That's just because of how he got exploited in the playoffs, too. That's part of the reason I say that, but we're loaded in D, so I think all you got to do, all Hayek was either AHL depth or, we have him here just in case, and if we need, he's bait to bring somebody else in or something else in. And the Rangers don't need picks, so the only thing I can think of bringing him back is in case you need him in a deal. I've heard Rangers are going at JT Miller, and the market's cold, and there's not really much going for him. And that the Canucks still think they can get him to sign a contract. So it's the fact of Hayek's here, great, but he's not a top AHL, and he's not a fringe NHL guy. So in my eyes, he's either depth or you're giving him you're bringing him here just for trade bait, just to keep him. I mean, and I'll have a separate video. I'm probably gonna record it either later or tomorrow. No, it'll have to be later because tomorrow's free agency. Talking about this and talking about the complete debacle. A lot of the guys leave, but. That's something for the next video, and I don't want to ramble on more about it, but it's a good pickup for what we're paying him and where he'll be. I'm fine with it because, it's somebody to be just down in the AHL, down in Hartford. And he's, depending on who you have a different view of his value, but I think he's good enough to fetch a decent return. I mean, all teams value guys different, and I mean, you could probably find the right deal for Hajek to be a steal. You never know with the NHL. So it always helps to have more trade and more pieces that can be moved if need be than anything. Over depth. That's the good thing about the defense in New York is there's so much over depth that it's like we don't need all these guys, but it's good to have them in case the right deal comes along or comes across the table and it's like, sure, and then you can bolster somewhere else. But anyways, I'll be back later in the week with more content, and who knows? Free agency may end better than I see it right now, but let's hope it does, because right now I'm just wishing we signed Vetrano, and I'm signing out.